I'm picking up again on the topic of men being more secure with themselves, more self-assured, more confident. This is not so men can walk around cocky and arrogant. This is so that men won't be so quick to kill another man. They won't be so quick to do the wrong thing at work and get another guy fired or make him lose his job because he is better than them at his job, or he looks better, or he dresses better. This is so that you won't rob somebody of a nice relationship with a woman you're in love with, or a woman you like and you can't have her, but there's another man that was able to get her, so you're out on a mission to sabotage him. Or this is to, let me be clear, I'm talking about these things to try to establish a male code again and pass down the best I know how a healthy pattern of thinking for men, so that when there are certain behaviors or characteristics like jealousy or envy, you can rebuke or cast that thought away and say, you know what, I'm not going to think that. I don't want to think about that. I'm not going to let my brain go there. You have to train your mind on a lot of things. And this is an area where men need to stop acting like women and going into these weird emotional states that are not natural for a man. There are some things as a man you just should not be thinking. I mean, if I walk into a job and there's 3 guys in there that are nice looking men, I'm not to compare myself with those men. That I shouldn't allow my thinking to go there. I shouldn't say, oh, that guy has a better body than me. I wonder what kind of woman he has and what his life is like. Those are catty, petty, negative, weak thoughts that men shouldn't think. As a man, you should be able to cast some thoughts out and say, you know what? I mean, and maybe you don't feel comfortable with yourself, or maybe there's some things that are going on with you to where you're insecure about some things and you feel the next guy has it a little bit better. But there are certain things you should not allow yourself to think. You should cast those thoughts down. Don't think it. Rebuke them. Cast them out. Say, you know what, I'm not going to think that. Okay? I can sit there and think about the Amazon man and how he has billions and billions of dollars, and say, why don't I have a business where I'm worth billions of dollars? Or why don't I have millions of dollars stacked away? Those are thoughts that you shouldn't allow yourself to go there. You should just say, I'm working towards this goal. Hopefully one day I'll get there, and I'm doing the best I can. Now, those are healthy thoughts. But to sit there and say, I hate that guy because he's rich, or I hate that guy because he's better looking, or he's successful. Those are not thinking patterns, and those are not habits that allow you as a man to be secure or self-assured. You need to identify things that are going to help you feel a little bit more self-assured. I mean, I don't even listen to some music if it makes me go to a place where I feel uncomfortable, or it makes me feel weak. I don't want to listen to it. I mean, it's just, you got to be able to train your thinking so that as a man, you have healthy thoughts. We're living in a society where men are killing each other, where they set people up, where they can't sleep at night until they do something evil to the next man because they hate somebody else for something that they don't have. And that's a sick attribute. It's not only an attribute that's going to lead you to hell, not only is it an attribute that makes you overall a weak man, not only is it an attribute that women find unattractive, not only is it an attribute that other men find unattractive, but it's an attribute that will self-torment you as a man to where you don't get to enjoy a lot of the beauties of life. Too many men walk around with their heads down and they got everything going for them. They got a car, they got a license, they got a job, they have a credit card, they have some money in the bank, they have nice clothes on, they took a shower, they ate Cane's fried chicken, they had something decent to put on for cologne, and they still walk around upset, mad, unhappy, bitchy, messy, still talking about people, making fun of people, still selfish, and look the next guy in their face and be like, oh, hey, how are you doing? Oh, it's good to see you. And in the back of their mind, they can't stand you. They can't stand you because they're weak. And they've adopted habits that made them a weak man. And then they wonder why women don't want to be around them or don't want to be with them. It's because they're weak. You've adopted habits and you've let it farm into this tree. You've let that seed of negativity and comparison, comparing the next guy, being jealous of the next guy, comparing, does he have a bigger penis than me? Is he better in bed? He has a bigger chest. He has a bigger muscle. He talks better. Oh, he gets along better with the women. And you compare and you compare and you compare. And the next thing you know, you have this harvest. You have this tree that has grown up in your life where you're seeing everything through this jealousy spirit and this insecure spirit. And it comes out in your behaviors. Because the minute the next guy's not around, you're talking about him or being catty or trying to set that guy up. Saying, oh yeah, well he did this and that. Oh yeah, he never does anything right. Just putting shade on him. Putting shade on him, making him look bad. But all of that is a byproduct of the big gigantic tree of negativity and jealousy and envy and negative thoughts that you have cultivated from being insecure, from being thankful for who you are and what you have, and having this way of thinking and nobody to check you, nobody to hold you accountable and say, you know what you're doing is it's weak, man. Don't think like that. You know, yeah, maybe you don't have the best body. Maybe you're not the best looking guy. Maybe there's a lot of things going wrong in your life, but there's something decent about you as a man that you should be able to identify as good. Harp on that. You know, work with what you got. Be thankful for what you got. Got an ungrateful generation of men. And then what's worse is learn how to be a man around women. At least try. You know, if a woman doesn't like you, fine, move on. If a woman, you try to talk to a woman and she's rude, let it go. I mean, I've seen over and over again, I hear about this guy beating up a woman, this woman afraid for her life, this woman's being threatened. If she wants to take off with the kids, let her. She'll be calling you for money. I mean, what can you do? Hire an attorney. You don't get a gun and go try to kill the whole family, try to kill her, scare the hell out of the kids. I mean, you got to learn to just do the best you can. And granted, there's some guys, and trust me, I know, I speak from experience, where you're dealing with just somebody that just acts a fool and they take their toll on you. Those are different situations. But if you're in a relationship where it's fresh and you just break up and you're power tripping over the kids, Be confident. Just say, okay, well, I'm going to pray and leave it in God's hands. I'll be there for you. Stop trying to control everything. I'm going to puke if the men that I'm around are just so controlling. If it's not their way, or if they're not the big Eddie, if they're not the big guy in charge, then you're out of the situation. Just pathetic. Weak. Just so weak. I wonder how some of the bodybuilders of back in the day, when they got in the gym, if they said, well, if I'm not the strongest guy, I'm not going to work around anybody. If Arnold Schwarzenegger going to the gym and he gets around Lou Ferrigno and all the other bodybuilders, and if he said, if I'm not the strongest guy, I'm not going to work out with anybody, and just have a hissy fit. And then everywhere he goes, he talks about Frank Zane and Lou Ferrigno and all the old school bodybuilders that were Mr. Olympias and whatever. No, they were men. They manned up. They said, okay, this guy's benching 600. I'm going to give it my best to bench 600. Okay, this guy's squatting 500. I'm going to do my best to squat 500. I'm not going to have a little bitch fit and talk about him and make him seem like he's retarded. You got to grow up, man. We're dealing with this little generation where and now I'm in danger of even trying to protect the man code, because there's going to be some guy out there that's going to be offended by what I'm saying, because he's been acting like a little bitch for so long that anytime anybody calls him out or tries to help him be more of a man, then he's the bad guy. You've been acting like a wuss so long that when you come around a man, it ruffles you all up. You can't handle it. It's too much for you. So now regular men, we have to go around catering to men that everything we say, we got to be careful. Not only we have to be careful around women now, we got to be careful around men, because we got to pacify their egos and pacify their insecurities and make them feel like they're better and they're this little God complex and that they're doing everything right when they're not. When basically they're not. So, in a nutshell, as we continue on this journey about talking about this stuff, it's just sad to me that just in the last week, I've encountered situations where men I know refuse to do the right thing because they're worried about what other people are going to think, and how they'll even hurt themselves and even hurt their money to pacify other people and not hurting their feelings on doing the right thing. They're just so worried about everybody getting offended that doing the right thing is out the door. Being a man is out the door. Standing up as a man is out the door. It's now turning into this little, and I'm trying to watch my words carefully, because I can't even really express what I want to express, because that will be too offensive. That'll be too hardcore, or that'll be too overbearing. So that's the kind of stuff we're dealing with. It's time for men to man up, start trying to hold each other accountable to acting like a decent man. It doesn't mean you'll do everything right all the time, but just start getting rid of these negative thoughts, these insecure thoughts, these weak, petty thoughts, comparing. It might as well it's just this comparing and not being grateful. Be grateful for who you are. Be grateful for what God created you. So you're saying God made a mistake when he created you? Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're saying? You don't like your hands, you don't like your feet, you don't like your ears, you don't like your head, you don't like the way you look. Everybody else is a problem with everybody else. Everything somebody else does is always something wrong. So basically, God created somebody else different. So what are you saying? God created them wrong? Did God create me wrong? Because I'm different. So me being different, am I created wrong? So we're going to walk around acting like everybody's got something wrong with them. They were created wrong. Because, I mean, as far as I know, God knew what he was doing when he created us, right? He kind of had an idea. So be more grateful for who you are. Be a little bit more, work on your thinking. Cast out these thoughts. Learn to catch these negative thoughts in your mind and say, you know what? I'm not fat. You know what? I look okay. You know what? I don't care what that guy has. I don't care how he talks. I don't care how much money he got. I'm not going to think that. I'm not going to care about his woman. I'm not going to think that. I'm not going to sit there and worry about how much money they have in a bank account. That's none of my business. I'm not going to find out every mistake they made. That's none of my business. I'm going to cast out that thought. Learn how to start watching how you think and be more confident, more secure.